This is the area of the Lady Washington called the forecastle. It's where all the crew members sleep. Now, I have to admit it's a bit of a dangerous place to be right now because these guys have been at sea for a long time, but who cares? At least it's dry down here. Well, you may have noticed that all the merchant seamen aboard the Lady Washington are wearing authentic replica clothing that goes back to the late 1700s. And our next story tonight is about some Hollywood clothing and costumes that have really started a fashion rage. As many of you may have noticed, lingerie and lace couldn't be hotter. At the time that this dangerous underwear was originally being worn back in Europe, an adventurous sea captain by the name of Robert Gray was exploring the Northwest in a ship called the Lady Washington. The year was 1792, and the Lady Washington sails filled with breezes off the Pacific Northwest coast. Her crew was in search of valuable sea otter pelts, and when they came ashore, they discovered the Columbia River and Gray's Harbor. It was in that same harbor nearly 200 years later that another burly crew gathered, this time to reconstruct the Lady Washington, which had been lost at sea 2 centuries before. The crew worked steadily for 2 years, using historical sketches of the ship as their only guide. But the biggest challenge was finding the right-sized wood.
Materials were hard to get. It's, getting to the point now where forestry is an art, and the smaller and smaller trees are being milled into lumber, and the big monster trees they had then aren't here anymore.
The modern-day crew that built this mighty vessel is now sailing her through the state that bears her name, a celebration of Washington's centennial year and the rebirth of the majestic Lady Washington.
And we'll all hang on behind.
If you'd like to come down and see the Lady Washington, it's open from 10 to 6 to the public. We'll give you a little tour. You get to meet all these handsome sailors, and it'll cost you just $3. Coming up next, welcome back to more Evening from aboard the Lady Washington. Now, all this week, we're continuing our look at London, England. Let me tell you something. If you had to negotiate this city on your own without the benefit of public transit or a guide, you'd be in real trouble. Now, no one knows this city better than the cab drivers over there. Not only do they know the best routes, but they also have the best stories. And tonight you're going to meet one London cabbie who's driven everybody, from commoners like you and her. She's getting ready to take a vacation in Scotland, and he'll be on hand to chauffeur her around. You know, every single cab in London looks just like Tom's. They're either red or black, and the design hasn't changed in years and years. Let me tell you something, it's fun to ride around in them. Feel kind of special, sort of like you're in a chauffeur-driven antique Rolls. Well, stay with us. We'll be back with more on this lovely Wednesday in just a minute. Stay tuned. If you'd like to tour the Lady Washington yourself, it's going to be here through the 22nd of this month. And then on the 23rd, they set sail for Tacoma. So I guess if you miss it up here, you could see it down there. Now,